Hey guys, Andrew Strout. I'm here on the sideboard. I'm sitting with Henry Romero. How you doing today?
Pretty good. How are you?
What's up? So Henry is a Grand Prix Top 8 competitor. He is competing today with an aggro control deck he's referring to as Basic Blue. So tell me a little about this deck and tell me why you decided to play it.
All right, it's just your classic control deck. Okay. Age-old counter spells, draw cards, don't let anything resolve. Lock them out eventually with a counter wall, basically.
Sure, I can get behind that. You're calling the deck Basic Blue because the mana base is full of basic islands and you are using the card Back to Basics. Tell me a little about that.
That's right. There's just a lot of 3-color decks in Legacy that that Back to Basics really just shuts down straight up. Okay. And as long as you're playing all basic lands, you're uninhibited by it and you're able to just keep playing your game.
Just kind of a free I win card that affects your opponent but not you in a lot of matchups.
Exactly.
All right, cool. So besides those Back to Basics, your core is really just like the age-old aggro controller. You have 10 creatures, right? It's 4 Delver of Secrets, 4 Snapcaster Mage, 2 Vendilion Click, and then you have a bunch of counter spells, right? You have, looks like 4 Counterspell, 4 Daze, 3 Force of Will, and 3 Spell Pierce.
Yeah.
So tell me a little about that counter selection. Why'd you choose the ones you did? How have they been?
It's just the most counters you can realistically play. The more counterspell you play, I think the less Force of Will you can get away with playing, just because your combo matchup's going to be already that good.
Sure. Okay. You're trying to get away with trimming Force of Will, I guess?
It's just not really what the deck wants to do. It really just wants to trade 1 for 1 and then card advantage out.
Okay. Like Force of Will, kind of a necessary evil in a lot of blue decks?
Right.
Okay. That makes sense. Now, the kind of glue that holds the deck together is the cantrip selection.
Right.
You talk about like the Delver decks of old that always, like they had Ponder, and then in the Delver decks in Legacy today, relying on Brainstorm, things like that. You have some cantrips of your own. You, of course, have 4 Brainstorm, the only opponent without them. You have 3 Gitaxian Probe, 1 Ponder, and 1 Thought Scour. And so the idea of these cantrips is that you can play some number of your, like 1-ofs and 2-ofs, and just be able to reliably find them as if they were 4-ofs, is that right? That's
right. Basically, you're going to play 4 Brainstorm no matter what. And then the rest, they're sometimes marginally better in different situations, and as long as you have enough card draw, you can justify playing 1 or 2 of some of them. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Okay, and you do have actually quite a good selection of 1-ofs. We already talked about 1 and 2-ofs, I should say. Yeah. We talked about the Back to Basics already. In addition to that, you have 2 Jace the Mind Sculptor, 1 Dismember, 1 Gut Shot, 1 Vapor Snag, and 1 Factor Fiction. This is a card I haven't seen in a while. So what kind of went into the choice of these 1-ofs? Well, Yvonne Arkin helped me pick out all the 1-ofs, and basically they're all a little bit better in different matchups. Right. And the ones that aren't so good, you can pitch to Force of Will, thus the Vapor Snag instead of a 2nd Dismember. Okay. I don't know, you can board a couple out here and there. Sure. You can thin to find them with all your card advantage. So
so basically, these are cards that you might want 1 of, you probably never want 2.
Exactly.
Kind of how that works? Yeah. Okay, cool. Let's talk about the sideboard really quickly. I know you mentioned that you were leaning on what you refer to them as control magics. You have 1 Vidalcan Shackles and 2 Threads of Disloyalty. Those are coming out of the board. How have those been for you?
They've been great against all the decks. Well, so the deck is really good against combo decks because of all the counters, but a lot of the time the weenie decks can sneak underneath your counter wall, so you need to be able to have a Submerge or a Gut Shot or a Threads or a Control Magic to steal them. Okay.
That makes sense. A lot of the other cards in your sideboard, fairly stock blue sideboard cards we've seen before. You have 2 Surgical Extraction, of course you have to have some Graveyard Hate. 3 Submerge, an extra Gut Shot, 2 Blue Elemental Blasts, and 1 Hydro Blast, so I guess 3 total. The Vendilion Click, the 4th Force of Will, and here's a weird one. This is one that I didn't quite understand when I first saw it. You have 1 Sapphire Charm in your board. What's up with that?
So, there's some weird ruling about phasing where you can phase out the Batterskull token and then the Batterskull never comes back. Don't ask me how that works.
Okay.
But yeah, it's really my only answer to them getting a Stoneforge down and then flashing a Batterskull in. Blue has really no way to deal with that.
Fair enough. You can't explain it, you just do it and then call a judge. I guess that's the idea.
Basically.
All right, cool. So we just finished round 4, I believe? Yeah. And how are you doing today with this deck?
I'm 3-0-1.
3-0-1, nice. All right. Well, good luck. I'll be rooting for you. Thanks for sitting down with me today, man.
Thank you.
All right, cool. Stick around. We've got plenty more Legacy action here in Seattle.